All right, Mercs, today's assignment, learn how to play Groot.
When did she pop it?
I am Groot!
Now, this goes for anybody when it comes down to the entire roster, but this mainly goes for Groot right now, and that is placement. Again, this goes for any character, but for Groot, it especially goes for him. And the reason because of that is not just Groot himself, but his walls. That sounds kind of sus, not gonna lie. But his walls in particular are one of the biggest assets that Groot will ever have in any of his kit. Of course, you know, it's a big no-brainer. Yeah, of course, that's one of his biggest things, but it's the way how you utilize them. Like I said, placement. So let me go ahead and give you a small scenario right now. So let's just say you're about to use your wall in order to block damage, which is good. I'm not going to tell you to not do that, but keep in mind, these walls do have a cooldown timer, and plus one wall gives you shields. So instead of you using the wall, be the wall. Let me explain, right? You're gonna put the wall that gives you shield off to the side, because at this point in time, you put a wall up in a very narrow area. Not only that you're hindering the enemy, you're also hindering your teammates, and they're all gonna shoot the fucking wall anyways to get it out of the way. So now you gotta sit there for like a 10+ second fucking cooldown and wait for it to come back. So the best thing for me anyway, this is just for me, but the best way that I decided to do was to put the wall that gives me shields off to the side. Let's move on to the next set of walls you have, your mini walls. The ones that you usually use for offensive play along with defensive. We're gonna create a little strat between you and me, right? And it's gonna be called the 2-in-1 wall strat. What I mean by the 2-in-1 is as in, you will use 2 of your walls to put them up against, guess what? The wall. Who would have guessed? You know, strategic play, thumbs approval, you're fucking... What I'm trying to say is this. When you do this, the enemy's not gonna pay attention to a wall that is nowhere in their way. When I put a wall down against the wall, it's out of sight, out of mind type shit, right? So the enemy's not gonna give a shit. Neither are your allies gonna give a shit. But the allies should also understand one thing too. If you put the walls against the wall, they have a cushion if an enemy, let's say for instance our healers, are dealing with, oh, I don't know, like a DP. You sit next to the wall, hit him, the wall's also gonna react and also hit the fucking BP, while I'm also dealing with the enemies up front, right? What do you do with the last one? You use the last one to quite literally and figuratively fuck over the enemy's pathing. And by which way? Do you put it in front of them? Fuck no, you don't do that. You put them right behind them. I'll say it like this, because you being a tank, you know, and the cool thing about being a tank is that when you take space, the enemy has no choice but to back the fuck up. So in the case of them backing up, put down the wall, block their pathing from hitting that backward step. See what happens. The 2-in-1 strat also gives you an ideal layout of your entire environment. You must look around and use every single wall to your strategy. To everything in the area will now become your playground in a way. Because here's the fun fact about the walls. The walls will also activate if your allies are also hitting an enemy next to them. And that definitely goes for the one that creates the shield. But all what I just said to you means literally nothing if you're not in that circle that Groot has. See that little green thin circle right there? It's a little bit far out from you, but just know that is your maximum range in order for any of the trees to work. I said trees again. God fucking... I meant to say walls. For any of the walls to work, you have to have them within that circle. There we go. Fuck. Your ultimate is probably a really good thing to use, right? Yeah, go ahead, throw it in front of the tank. If you want it to be completely blocked and no one gets touched by it, then yeah, sure. Then you'll experience this thing we like to call ego death. Or you can use my 2-in-1 strategy. Well, our 2-1 strategy. I'm not gatekeeping, I swear. So set them up, knock them down, right? At this point in time, when you play Groot, you gotta play a little bit meticulously. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more of the sick and nasty vibes. You gotta put down your walls and then use your ult. But how do you do it exactly? I'm pretty sure any Groot main can tell you this, or any person that has played Groot, you know, with at least a functioning brain cell can probably tell you what I'm about to tell you. But essentially, set them up, knock them down is effectively this. Tank in front of me. Tank loses shield because of DPS shooting at it. Healers are also behind tank. Put wall behind tank. Healers must now run up past wall or destroy it. So put wall behind them as well, along with tank. Then ult. And because of you ulting and you're doing meticulous damage next to your walls, they're going to activate and smack the shit out of them repeatedly while you're also smacking the shit out of them repeatedly. Then throw a seed bomb at them. Pretty much the whole case there. But that's not also the most, I shouldn't say not almost, but that's not the only way to use it. I would argue if a flyer is close enough to a wall, shoot that Groot ult up there. That shit may not be often, but it goes both ways, you iron bitch. They're gonna get stuck there, and you can hit them repeatedly. And last time I checked, there are no flyers that can just be CC immune unless they're using a shield of some sort. Now, trust me, there are definitely a lot more creative and more effective ways of doing Groot. This is just what I'm showing you. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. At the end of the day, I am a shitter that has gotten no further than Grandmaster 3. But those are my unhelpful tips for Groot. But that's today's assignment. Take care, Mercs.